the girl secretly installed a camera on her pet dog. She did it solely to capture evidence of her stepmother having an affair with her uncle. However, after obtaining the video, she did not rush to expose the two. Instead, she arranged for someone to play it at her adoptive father's wedding. Unaware of this plan, the uncle came to provoke the girl. He claimed that her stepmother was already pregnant and that a video made from the ultrasound image would be played during the wedding later. He stated that at that time, her adoptive father's entire family would shower all their love on the biological child. He added that as an adopted daughter, the girl should leave gracefully as soon as possible. Yet the girl paid no attention to his provocation. She knew the more arrogant the uncle was at that moment, the more embarrassed he would be later. It turned out that a few days earlier, the girl had accidentally stumbled upon the scandal between her stepmother and uncle. She learned that the stepmother was actually the uncle's first love and that she had approached the adoptive father only to help the uncle seize the family property. This was because the uncle had failed to inherit the family property due to his laziness and gluttony. Upon learning the truth, the girl immediately locked the door and quickly called her adoptive father to expose them. But when she opened the door, she found only the stepmother in the room. The stepmother pretended to be frightened and said she had been sleeping just now, adding that she did not know who had suddenly locked the door and scared her. The girl angrily exposed the affair between the stepmother and the uncle, but the stepmother pretended to be wronged and told the girl not to slander her, to prove her innocence. She even allowed the girl to search the room thoroughly. As expected, no one was found. Little did anyone know that upon hearing the commotion, the uncle had already jumped out of the window and escaped. Because of this, the girl was labeled as someone who falsely accused others. The girl was about to explain, but the stepmother suddenly announced that she was pregnant. Upon hearing this, the adoptive father was immediately overjoyed and shifted his full attention to the pregnancy. He also followed the stepmother's suggestion to advance the wedding date. Helpless, the girl had no choice but to decide to find another opportunity to expose the stepmother. Soon, the wedding day arrived. The girl went to the dressing room and warned the stepmother to call off the wedding immediately. Otherwise, she would make the stepmother lose all her reputation. But the stepmother thought the girl, as a child, could not do anything to her. She even threatened that once she married the girl's adoptive father and had the child, the first thing she would do was drive the girl away. Seeing that persuasion was useless, the girl secretly asked a maid to help call the uncle to the dressing room in the stepmother's name. She then installed a camera on the dog and let it sneak in to film the two of them. The camera not only captured their intimate moments but also revealed that the child in the stepmother's belly was actually the uncle's. The two also planned to play the ultrasound image at the wedding, hoping that the grandfather would be so happy that he might even give the stepmother shares of the family property. Upon learning this through the camera, the girl was filled with anger. She quietly replaced the ultrasound video with the footage of their intimate moments. Unaware of the switch, the stepmother was prepared to give the grandfather a surprise at the wedding. She publicly asked someone to play the ultrasound video. In the next second, everyone present was stunned. Not until someone played a video of his wife having an affair with his younger brother at the wedding did the man finally realize that the adopted daughter hadn't been lying when she said she'd seen them cheating. He immediately apologized to the girl with a face full of remorse, unaware that the entire incident was the girl's doing. It turned out that not long ago, the girl had accidentally discovered the scandal between her stepmother and uncle. She learned they were plotting to join forces and seize her adoptive father's inheritance rights, so she quickly told her adoptive father about it. But the man had listened to the stepmother's sweet words and didn't believe the girl at all. Helpless, the girl could only secretly install a camera on the dog, successfully capturing footage of the stepmother and uncle being intimate, and deliberately played it at the wedding. When the guests saw this, they immediately started whispering among themselves. The man's grandfather was even so enraged that he flew into a fury. Yet the stepmother still argued that the video must have been forged, and the uncle directly grabbed the girl, falsely accusing her of forging the video because she knew the stepmother was pregnant and feared the child would threaten her status once born. However, no one believed their words after all. How could a young girl be so scheming, let alone have the ability to forge a video? So the grandfather announced on the spot that he was kicking the uncle out of the house. Seeing this, the stepmother could only beg the man to give her one more chance. But the man disappointedly announced the cancellation of the wedding in order to cut off all ties with her forever. Unwilling to lose his inheritance rights to the family property just like that, the uncle turned around and found his mother, wanting to discuss ways to make the grandfather change his mind. The mother thought that the grandfather admired a painting of an ancient princess. If they could buy such a painting and give it to him on his birthday, the grandfather might be happy enough to revoke the decision to kick him out. It's just that paintings of that ancient princess are extremely rare. As the mother and son searched everywhere to buy the painting, they accidentally saw the girl and her adoptive father taking a painting for authentication. After the experts appraised it, they discovered that this painting was actually a work by that ancient princess. The man immediately asked the girl in confusion where she had gotten the painting, unaware that the girl was the ancient princess who had accidentally traveled through time to the present. This painting was also one she had just painted recently and deliberately aged to look antique. But she didn't tell her adoptive father her true identity. Instead, she told him not to ask too many questions and just give the painting to the grandfather. Upon hearing this, the adoptive father didn't press further. Instead, when he visited the grandfather, he handed the painting to the servant, unaware that the servant had already been bribed by the mother and son. They immediately stole the painting after getting it. It wasn't until the uncle brought the painting to give to the grandfather that the girl and the man realized the painting had been stolen. The man quickly explained that the painting was his birthday gift for the grandfather and that he had given it to the servant earlier, but the servant claimed never to have received any gift from him, as both sides insisted on their own stories. The girl directly stated that this painting was a fake because she was the one who had painted it. Not until they saw the girl paint an identical ancient-style painting did everyone finally believe it. The painting in her uncle's hand had been stolen from her, but no one could have imagined how a young girl like her could create such an exquisite work of art. Little did they know that the girl was actually an ancient princess who had traveled through time to the present. She had been educated to be versatile and talented since childhood. A few days earlier, when the girl learned that her great-grandfather's birthday was approaching, she painted a picture, deliberately aged it, and gave it to her adoptive father. She wanted him to present it to the great-grandfather to curry favor with him. At first, the adoptive father didn't believe that the girl could produce a painting that belonged to an ancient princess, but after consulting an expert for authentication, it turned out to be a genuine antique. This entire scene was accidentally witnessed by the uncle's mother. She had also been searching for the painting of that ancient princess, because the girl's uncle had been having an affair with her stepmother. When the great-grandfather found out about this, he drove the uncle out of the house. Because of this, the uncle and his mother wanted to find the ancient painting that the great-grandfather cherished to ingratiate themselves with him, so the mother and son immediately bribed a maid. When the girl's adoptive father came to visit the great-grandfather with the painting, the maid secretly stole it and handed it over to the mother and son. It wasn't until they saw the uncle personally give the painting to the great-grandfather that the girl and her adoptive father realized their painting had been stolen. The adoptive father immediately confronted the maid, demanding an explanation, but the maid insisted that she had never received any painting from him. Only then did the adoptive father realize that they had colluded with each other all along. However, the uncle flatly denied the accusation, knowing that the adoptive father had no evidence. Seeing this, the girl had no choice but to state that she had painted the picture herself, but she was immediately mocked by the uncle and his mother. They sneered, asking how a little girl could paint a famous ancient masterpiece, yet the girl retorted that she could easily paint hundreds more just like it. Upon hearing this, even the great-grandfather couldn't hold back. He scolded the adoptive father for failing to educate his daughter properly, saying that she had learned to brag at such a young age. The adoptive father was at a loss for words, but he firmly believed that the girl was not lying. Moreover, the painting had indeed been given to him by the girl, but the great-grandfather insisted that he recognized the painting as an authentic relic. Even if the girl knew how to paint, it was impossible for her to create an ancient-style painting. With everyone refusing to believe her, the girl decided to paint on the spot to prove herself. Upon hearing this, the uncle immediately mocked her, saying she probably couldn't even hold a writing brush correctly, but the girl ignored him. She picked up the writing brush and began to paint skillfully. Half an hour later, she actually produced an identical painting. Everyone was stunned by the sight. The uncle still tried to quibble, claiming the girl must have cheated, but the great-grandfather had already formed his own judgment. He angrily shouted at the maid, demanding to know the truth. Faced with this, the maid had no choice but to confess. She admitted that the mother and son had bribed her to steal the painting. The great-grandfather was furious. He drove the mother and son out of the house on the spot.